Welcome to.
Hold on, the fuck on. She just launches right into it. Like
Well, it said
Because I'm ready to
5.3.
go. I'm ready
Let's
to
go.
it is the hardest thing to edit. All
Waiting on Elena.
give it like 3 seconds before you just launch.
May I start? Okay.
Hold on there for you.
Oh, there we go. Welcome to the Bunk Room Chats podcast. I am Elena, also known as Betty. This is
Tim.
Tim, also
Hello,
known as
Tim.
Conrad. And today we have two special guests with us. So if you want to say who you are, what you do, and how you know both of us.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is my husband, TJ Prieur. We are a fire family. TJ is a firefighter in Frederick County, working alongside Tim Conrad. And we met you guys through the fire service in Frederick County.
Yeah. Tim actually was my mentor coming out of the academy, which was my first year of
I didn't know
wild
that.
times.
So, yeah, just another Station 3 brethren, which is kind of where this whole podcast idea was started as well. So, Station 3 running deep.
As always. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do, because I know obviously we know each other through the fire department, but you guys started something new, and it really has a lot to do with mental health, and that kind of piqued our interest too. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys have started?
Yeah, so about 4 years into my fire service, fire department was something that I wanted from the very get-go. When I was really young, I knew I always wanted to be a firefighter. It was my dream job, and took all the steps to get that. And 8 years ago is when I started here in Frederick and came out of the academy as valedictorian, which really opened my eyes to what I was possible of accomplishing, because I had never been the smart kid in school. I was the C-D range. To see and be on top of a crowd, and the crew that I had around me was incredible, and people like Trevor Meter, and it was really cool to be on top like that, to come out and just really change my mind of what was possible. And then starting in at Station 3, my second born was born 16 hours before my first shift at Station 3. So we were literally running calls, and then I was visiting Sarah and Wyatt in the hospital in between. And it was just game on from then. We moved from Colorado off a ski resort and living the ski bum lifestyle, and then literally moved a week before the academy started, and it was game on, and it was a wild ride. So 4 years into my career, I found myself with everything I said I needed to be happy, and I found myself fucking miserable and not who I wanted to be. All of my actions weren't aligned with who I wanted to be, and the alignment was just not there. And I kind of had a big spiritual awakening after a call that really stuck with me deeply, of a child that didn't make it. And I was just washing Wyatt's hands. I think at that point he was 2, 3.
Yeah, he's probably 2.
Yeah. And I just looked at his hands, and then I saw the hands of that child that didn't make it. And I just went into a whirlwind of like, what the fuck am I doing right now with my life? It's time for a massive change. So I went on still on it, but a pretty massive spiritual awakening and journey of just trying to find who I am, my purpose, what I'm doing here, and what this world's all about, and how our mindset really creates our perspective, which creates the world and reality that we currently live in. And we can't change the outer world. All we can change is our inner world. And that really blew my mind. And so I started changing as a person, started changing my beliefs, started changing my habits, and started running Ironmans and other triathlons and ultra marathons, and really just dove deep into the soul. So we started and created Real Elevation Coaching. And now, it was like something that I wish I had any kind of baseline of what the heck to do to find purpose and find myself. So that's what we created for the past few years. And we actually just came out with our first planner / guided journal, which we're super stoked to drop. But we're here to really help and guide parents find clarity in their lives, structure in their lives, and balance within themselves and their families. And we do that through creating really simple processes and systems, and then daily habits to really rediscover who the hell you actually are and find your true purpose and soul within. So that's what we're doing now, is we're helping guide people into the lives that they're ultimately dreaming of, because it's so important to have that community and that little bit of push when you need it, because we find ourselves in the depths at times, and it's so hard. I always say it's hard to read the label when you're in the jar. So if you have that community around you, you can really see a different perspective and come out of those really dark spaces in a quicker enlightenment, if you will. You have anything to add to that?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head, but it's just this scenario where when you become a parent and you're in the daily grind, the work, the parenting, all the things, a lot of times, and I know I can especially speak for mothers in this sense, you lose a piece of yourself, or maybe even all of yourself, except for the part that has to keep going to show up. So it's one of those things where the people that we want to help are the people that are trying to find that again. Yep. They're trying to find themselves amidst all the chaos, or maybe reinvent themselves so that they can show up as a better mom, as a better wife, as a better version of them, and still have a life that they dream of while doing all the things.
Right.
And that's what it's really all about, is helping parents come into this new life so that they can be a version of them and live their own life while raising amazing kids and, you know, keeping up with all the responsibilities that go along with parenting.
And being a first responder doesn't help that ebb and flow, if you will. It really shakes the system quite drastically just in one shift, you know, or one call can change everything.
Yes.
So having those habits in place and having those systems in place that can keep moving, maybe when you're in a lower state or in the depths of the valleys, if you will. And that's what's going to keep moving you forward out of that rut, if you will, because we never rise to the level of occasion. We always fall to the level of our habits, or in the fire service, we say we fall to the level of our training, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we help guide people into, to kind of create that harmonious of life and create more time and structure for themselves and their families to bring the best version of themselves forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this doesn't just sit with first responders. You guys are helping, like, you've opened the doors for everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Did it start kind of with the first responder mindset at all, or is this something like you kind of bounced ideas off each other and were just like, let's just go balls out for everybody? And
yeah, it's been everywhere, to be honest, because I was so deep in the spiritual movement of it all. And it's like, well, we got to change all of our beliefs, and we got to find all of our limiting beliefs, and we got to figure out where the trauma is coming from, and we got to find the core of it, and we got to change the meaning of the memory, and we got to go back there. But our nervous system needs to be in alignment, so we need to make sure we're doing our breath work and our yoga and our meditation and our ice baths.
That's what I was kind of talking about. Like, so it stemmed from you initially being on the job. You were talking about a call you ran, something that just snapped you into this mindset, and you wanted to make some changes. The first responder thing is obviously huge to us. I mean, it's all I know. It's all we know. But then you just launched into bringing it to everybody.
Yeah, being a first responder family is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle like none other. And I think a lot of people wouldn't even understand it until they truly lived it. But we realized along the journey that, especially in this day and age, with so many people who have more unique jobs where they can work remotely or they work from home, we've really gotten deeply involved in the local homeschool community, because we have started homeschooling our kids as our second year homeschooling. So we started realizing along our own journey and our own path and all the people that we connected with that, yes, our lifestyle is so unique because we are a first responder family and we can truly speak to those people. and help them in this unique lifestyle. But we also are realizing that it's really not just about people in general or first responders in general or adults that want to change. It's something that sparked our energy and our interest because of being a parent, because we have these amazing kids and we want to give them every opportunity to truly be themselves and to truly live a life that they dream of. And it occurred to us along the way that unless we're being that ultimate example, how else are they going to get that?
So Sarah, I kind of want to touch on what you said because it really hit me. You were talking about how as a mom, you kind of lose part of yourself when you become a parent, which I can 100% relate to that. I mean, I absolutely adore my child, but there is that part of you that I don't necessarily think men can understand on that same level. But I want to talk about how that relates to what TJ does also, because how has that, obviously the schedule is completely different than someone who has a 9 to 5 and they're home for dinner and like it's you a lot of the time. So how has that impacted your mental health, your journey as a mom, your relationship, if you're willing to talk about it?
Sure. It's been very interesting. So after our first son was born, we were still living in Colorado at the time, and we didn't have any family close by. We had incredible friends who were family to us, and that community stepped up. At that time, TJ was not a firefighter, but he was on the local ski patrol. We lived on a ski resort, and he worked in the on-mountain emergency room. So he was still in the same type of industry, not the same type of hours. And it was really our first taste at experiencing what it was like trying to juggle family life with kids and shift work. I worked in the restaurant industry, so I was working nights. He was working mostly during the day. And I would take our son to work with me and set up in the middle of the day, and he would sit in the restaurant. And then I would go home and we'd swap and I'd rush back in, work until midnight or 2 a.m, then come home and we'd do it all over again. That was a big part of the reason why we came back to Maryland, where I grew up, to be closer to family, to have that connection. And then our second baby came along, and then TJ was really in the throes of firefighter life, which was a totally new experience for me. We went to that meeting at the academy when they first start their recruit class, where the family comes, and I heard the conversation and the comments from the leaders talking about mental health and talking about signs of what might happen if your firefighter is struggling. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I have like the happiest husband in the world. You know, he's gonna like, I don't even get it.
Until you did.
Until I did. Until I did.
How quickly that can change.
And, you know, when you're living a lifestyle where you're getting not sleep deprived, you're being pushed out of bed, you're seeing things that no one wants to see, you're meeting not one person on the worst day of their life, but multiple people every shift on the worst day of their life. And then you come home to chaos, because while he's meeting multiple people on the worst day of their lives, I am at home having the worst day of my life. In so many words, at least when our kiddos were little and I was home by myself a lot, it was just like, I don't even, you know, it was just like trying to survive. It was survival mode. It was chicken nuggets in the air fryer every day. It was, you know, coffee before any other food. It was barely getting any movement in. It was like, I don't even know when the last time was I showered, and who am I? I don't even know.
Overtouched, overstimulated.
All the things.
And then a husband comes in the door like, I need love now from you. Come to me. I
Yeah.
need a big kiss.
Yeah. So there was a lot of disconnect in our relationship, and just a lot of like just trying to survive all the time.
And I was changing really quick.
He was changing rapidly when he first.
For the worst, you know.
Yeah, for the worst. Angry, like extremely angry. Anything would snap
Hyper
him.
vigilant. Couldn't go out and go to bars. Couldn't go out and go to restaurants. Couldn't go out to concerts. I was always looking behind me. I was always focused on all the things that could go wrong. So we couldn't even enjoy life outside the firehouse because I was on guard of protection, because I'm a protector. That's who I am. Ultimately, I think most firefighters are. They want to save the world. But unfortunately, most firefighters want to save the world, but they're not willing to fucking save themselves. Number one, they don't know how, you know, and we're in this culture of mission men and me. And it's like, no. Like, you need to fill your own damn cup first before you can pour into anybody else. But guess what? They don't show you any of that.
Yeah.
They teach you how to be a firefighter. They don't teach you how to maintain a healthy life.
Yeah. I had no idea how to even handle
That's 100% the mission statement of this podcast.
Yeah, and it's very true, because we talked about it all the time. Like, we are trained to do this job, but that's kind of where it stops. And then you have to deal with all of the trauma that comes with the job by yourself, basically. So, and yes, it is getting better. I think
It's getting
people are
much
talking
better.
more, and that's great.
They're more open, for
Yes,
sure.
a lot more open. If you were there to support him as he was changing and having kind of mental health, I don't want to say issues if you weren't, but it sounds like you were having some
I was
mental
on
health
all
issues.
the medications, all of them.
So if you were there to support him, did you feel like you had support? And, you know, like, I feel like that's because you were dealing with 2 kids. Now you have a husband that is on a journey that maybe you don't understand. So how did that impact you?
No one's ever asked me that question before.
I think that's where our location was we were blessed. Deeply
I mean, I was super lucky to be 10 minutes away from my parents.
Yep.
And it's definitely something that I am still working on, being willing to be more open and honest with what I have going on in my life and asking for help, because I think so many of us struggle with truly asking for help, you know? And during that time when our kids were really little, I leaned on my mom a lot. I wasn't able to really convey what was going on between TJ and I, or with TJ, because I didn't really even know. I didn't have the words for it, but I was able to talk about it a little bit and to talk to his mom about it. She's always been really open and ready to have the conversations, which was incredible. No one knew what solution, like, no one knew where it was going to go or how it was going to be remedied necessarily, but I did have some support behind me. It was just always this
the unknown.
Yeah, so much unknown, and trying to figure out, why is he so angry? Because it manifested in TJ as anger. You know, I think so many other firefighters go through alcoholism, go through, you know, different things. But for TJ, it manifested as anger and hypervigilance. So it was one of those things where it was like, suddenly we would go to a brewery on a Saturday afternoon outdoors, and it would be too much.
Yeah.
It was like,
I had to
wait,
get the hell out of here.
what? My fun-loving, like, concert-going, let's party husband can't be outside on a Saturday afternoon. It was really, I had no idea.
I didn't know what was going to trigger it. It was triggered by so many different things. So it was like walking on pins and needles. And I was like, I'm ready to have a good day. And I'm on all these medications that are supposed to make me have a good day. And now, like, I don't feel shit. I feel like a zombie now.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm getting depressed. And I'm like, wait, it's like, now I'm depressed. Like, when did this happen? You know?
But
and
if you think about it, I feel like your response makes sense, because it's not like we run the same call over and over again. You never know what you're going to get. So that's kind of, I think that kind of manifested in your life in that way, because it was like, you don't know what's going to happen when you go out the door.
Well,
just like when you go on a call.
I think that's the biggest problem, is like, a lot of times we'll run that really bad call. And now guess what? Every time a call goes out that has any sort of factor of that call, that's the call we're going to run. If you're off duty and you see anything or smell anything, it's going to take you back to that call.
Yep.
So until you go back to that call and really change the meaning of the memory and find the growth moments that are within that call and use it as horsepower, we're going to be always ready to jump back into that low vibrational, fearful, hateful, I mean, all of these different terrible feelings at any given moment, boom, without the healing aspect. And that's when it was like, all right, well, it's time to heal. Like, it's time to heal, and it's time to have a different mindset and a growth mindset that can change our lives forever, because like, we're here to serve our children and serve ourselves and serve our community. But if we don't fill our own cups, like we were saying, like, we can't serve anybody in any capacity that means anything to us at all, truly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things when you really started to, when you had that moment with Wyatt's hands and you really started to wake up, one of the biggest parts of it, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm always game. I'm always like, I'm a yes person. So it was always like, okay, babe, if you want to try this, if you want to do this, if this will make you feel better, let's try it. I was always willing to listen, always willing to have the conversations, and always willing to like up for whatever kind of crazy thing he wanted to do next. You want to run a half Ironman? Go for it. What do I need to do to help you? It was always one of those things from like, I'm behind you. However you can get out of this and move forward, I'm into it. And when I started to see him change and see the difference, it was like, wow, well, I guess I got to make some moves too, because I'm not perfect. I'm just here in my sweatpants, taking care of our kids while my husband goes out and runs 12 miles or 20 miles or whatever it is. Maybe I can step up my game.
So that brings an interesting point, or something that I've always kind of wondered. And this is not like a jab at you, Prieur. It's a general curiosity of mine, because I am just as guilty. When I gave up drinking, because I was self-medicating all 100% with alcohol and stuff, it's common to hear the term that you replace an addiction with an addiction. So do you find at all, like, running 20 miles and stuff like that and just going to another extreme is kind of like a healthier addiction, but at the same time, is it healthy?
Yeah.
In that mindset.
And and are you able to regulate it in the sense that you can you self-identify when, okay, maybe this is going too far. Maybe I am taking this a little bit too far.
Yeah, cool. It's giving me chills, because that's such an incredible point, for sure, because it is something that I found I took a trauma-informed yoga teacher training. It was 240 hours, because I wanted to start teaching yoga and mindfulness to the recruits. And I was like, man, if I had any of these tools when I was in the academy, maybe I didn't have to suffer as much as I did. And somebody said something in that class that was so profound for me, because this is when I was running all of these races, and I didn't know how to swim, but I wanted to run one of every triathlon there was, all the way up to the Ironman. And the girl said at one point, she's like, well, do you think that putting yourself through all that trauma is just more trauma? I'm like, that's really interesting you say that. I'm like, maybe, but I'm in charge of my own suffering at that moment, because the world that we live in is very uncomfortable, especially now, and all the terrible things that we see. What used to be so sacred for police officers and first responders and military, and the trauma that we are held by everybody now because of the news and because of social media. And it was very insightful for me. So now I just finished my second ultra marathon 50-mile race last weekend. And again, I was like, why am I still doing this to my body? And I think it's so profound in those ways, because when you're in charge of your own suffering and put yourself in those uncomfortable environments to grow spiritually, physically, mentally, there's so much growth in such a small amount of time. What might take somebody 10 years of suffering to learn something about themselves, I might have learned in that 12-hour run, and it's like, it takes you back to like, why are you doing this? And for me, my really strong why, because I feel like in the spiritual growth or just personal development, it's so important to have a strong why, because that's what keeps you disciplined, right? We all have the willpower, and why is what creates that discipline to get you out of bed every day to keep doing what you're doing. And for me, it was for my kids. Like, I know my kids are absolutely incredible human beings, and the only thing that's going to limit them is me. and my beliefs of the world that I'm now instilling on them. It's like, no. Like, these dudes are my gurus. These dudes are the closest things to God that's on this planet as a human being, because they don't have all those limited beliefs. So if I can create a baseline for them to think that, hey, it's just normal to go run 50 miles, or it's normal to go run an Ironman, and for them to see that at the end and see the smile on my face and what it meant to me, I think that ultimately is why I do what I do. But it's also pulling me out now a little bit, because it is a lot on the body, right? And it's like, next year I have an option to do a 100-mile race, and I want to know what that feels like.
Oof.
Because at the end of 50 miles, I'm like, holy shit, I have to turn around and do that again. Like, that's crazy, and that's not a belief right now in my mind that's current. And I'm all about changing the beliefs because of epigenetics and gene expression and all of these things. Like, our reality shifts the second that our beliefs shift. All of our fears that are stuck in our bodies everywhere, all of those things shift immediately when our thoughts and our beliefs change.
Right.
It changes our actions.
Yeah, and I wanted to make clear that I wasn't. I mean, it's one thing to have goals, right? Goals. You have set some goals, and you are achieving them, but you don't feel, and Sarah, you don't feel either that it has overtaken you or caused you any time away from. Point.
There were some times in the beginning when these really big triathlon goals started, that yes, it was very, very time consuming. And we had to build our whole lives around on shift days and training days.
6 hours.
Because, you know, when you're training for a full Ironman, that's 6-7 hours of your day that you're outside running and biking. So when you come home, you're not really very much use as far as
I needed a rub down.
Wrangling the children. You need more. So yeah, it was a huge commitment for our entire family, and that has changed a lot. That was maybe like a 6-month period out of the scenario. And now that he's kind of gotten a little bit more used to what it feels like, his body is different, you know, the need isn't as high.
Yeah, this last one, I didn't even really run. Which was like such a, I was like, well, I know I can do it. So it's already beliefs. My body's fine, right? I'm like, I won't even really run that much. We'll do little spot check-ins. So we did a marathon spot check-in. We did a half marathon, like trail spot check-in. Other than that, like, man, a week before the race, I was on a 2-mile run. I'm like, this is gnarly. 2 miles is hard right now. Like, we got to do 50 of these.
I'm not going to lie, I was worried about you.
So Sarah, we were talking a lot about how your husband kind of, you know, had this, I don't want to say, well, maybe it is like an awakening of sorts. And you kind of changed your whole family's lifestyle. What did you do, if anything, to support your own mental health and to find things that fill your cup and make you happy and make you feel fulfilled?
Yeah. So as TJ went on this journey, I was there supporting, watching, taking care of the kids. And it's one of those things where when you're in a partnership, where you're in a true relationship, when one person starts to grow and rapidly change, if you don't change too, like it's not going to flow together. So it was one of those things where I started realizing pretty quickly that I needed to level up, essentially. And I wanted to. That's the thing. When your partner is leveling up in a way that's so positive, it's inspiring. It's not frustrating. It's inspiring. And so for me, my growth and my positive change always starts with movement. Mm-hmm. So gosh, I think it was before 2020, maybe 2019, I actually went to an indoor cycling gym that was local. It's not open anymore. And I tried an indoor spin class. In Colorado, we mountain biked a lot and I really, really loved it. And it's something that you can do here. But to be honest, with 2 little kids and the time constraints, it's hard to get out and go trail riding all day. So I went to this spin class and it was so much fun. And a newer gym opened in 2020 and I immediately joined. And so I found a lot of joy in movement, going to cycling classes, which stemmed into yoga, which stemmed into strength training. And I'm actually now a certified indoor cycling instructor myself. I teach twice a week because it is so inspiring and so motivating. And I get on the podium and inspire a room of other people to move their bodies and show them what that does for your mindset. Because for me, that's the thing when you're trying to create lasting change when it comes to your fitness. I think it's so important to realize that in order to make it last and to make it truly a habit, it's so important to realize that it's not about how it makes you look. It's about the peace that it creates inside of your mind and the strength that it gives you inside of your heart so that you can move through the rest of your day as a better mom, a better wife, a better business owner, whatever it may be. Because I move my body for 1 hour a day, I show up in a better way for everyone else around me in my world. So that was really where it started for me. And it led into other things. I've realized over the last couple of years that daily journaling has really improved how I show up in my day, writing down some intentions. And this is like 5 minutes. I'm not talking about like, oh, I sit for an hour and I write in my journal. Like I've realized, and that's something that I think really differs between TJ and I is, he will try to create these morning routines, or over the years, he's tried to create these wellness routines. And it's like an hour long or 2 hours long.
About 2 hours in the morning.
Yeah. And I mean, that's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I got a lot of responsibilities. I have a lot of different things going on in my life. I can't spend 2 hours on just wellness in the morning, but I can spend 30 minutes, and I can spend 5 minutes at the end of the day to reflect back on my day and be proud of what I actually did accomplish. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of small practices that I've adopted and found what works for me over the years to find gratitude, to feel proud of what I'm doing, and to focus on all my positives throughout the day rather than think about all the things that I didn't complete. Because as a mom, we all have like this massive, massive to-do list. And it's never ending. And I'm a box checker. I like to check the box and cross it off and be like, it's done. I'm never doing it again. Well, guess what? That's not real life because it always comes back around. You have to keep doing it, whether it's cleaning the bathroom, folding the laundry, whatever. So for me, it's all about like recognizing what I did do so that I can know that my day was good.
100%. We talk a lot about journaling. And it's a practice that I picked up at rehab, and it felt actually very therapeutic. And I still, to this day, occasionally, and not as much as I was when I was there, like I was journaling every step of the way back then. But I'll still take time to write down thoughts, especially as we age. You talk about box checking. The thought of attacking a day at home or even at the fire station if we have a bunch of things to do, I have got to write down a list.
Yep.
So I can not just feel the sense of accomplishment of checking the box, but just make sense of it and try and strategize and formulate a game plan from it to make it that much easier and make you that much more productive. It
Absolutely.
just it in a way
it's crucial.
It is journaling in and of itself.
It's creating some sort of structure.
Yeah.
I mean, I even do that with my son. Like, I'll tell him, and he's 2.5, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do this first, then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. So he has some sort of like, okay, now I can expect that we're doing this next, and then we're going to do this. And he might not understand everything we're doing, but I think eventually, having that
reprogramming that
structure
subconscious structure. I think that was the biggest shift, I'd say, in our relationship and what we were doing as a couple and as a family. Was after I kind of got out of that big year of 2021 of doing all of these races, man, I think I sat down and spent like $3,500 just in entry fees for these races I wanted to compete in. And I was doing marathons and never done them before. And the biggest shift I would say that we had, besides like a ton of mindfulness or paying attention on purpose without judgment, and that meditation, that yoga, was our planning sessions and using a planner and using a daily habit checklist.
Yeah.
So you can get those endorphins when you hit those checklists for your ice bath, for your meditation, for your yoga, for your movement, whatever that is. But we sit down on Sundays and we say, all right, let's get into our calendar. And we have a whole system and a process now, which we teach our clients, because you lay out your planner. And then you're like, all right, this is what I need to do. We're going to dump everything out of our brains that's overwhelming us, of all these different tasks and things that the kids need and things that I need for my mindfulness and things that I need for my training. And we're going to throw it all down right here. And then we're going to figure out exactly when we're going to do it, on what day, at what time, how much energy it's going to take us, what's the best time to do it, and created a process as a family all the way down to the micros of it, of like, what are we going to eat for dinner that night? Do we need to pull anything out this morning for that? All the way down to now our children have a whole whiteboard, and we've built the whole thing by hand of their own magnets, where it's like, this is what we have to do tomorrow. You choose at what time you want to do those things. So they have the freedom to choose what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. And if we have something going on like work or a gym, we'll put those in so they work around our schedule. But then they can see like, hey, shoot, I didn't get my 20 minutes of reading in, but guess what? I can take this magnet off and put it down below here, and I'm still going to accomplish it. And people get, especially me and you, who are like, we're just free birds. We just want to be free, and we don't need that structure or that planning. Yeah, if somebody calls, we'll just say yes. And it's like, well, that's not an option anymore when you have kids. Like, right, and that planner creates all of that freedom.
Yeah.
Period. Because when someone calls, you can open your planner up and be like, let me move this here and move this here and add this in here, which is so important. And then our daily gratitude that we go through opens up our heart, and really be mindful of that. And then we reflect every single night, like with our planner and our journal. Because what you don't look at, you're not going to change, right? So it's like you constantly evolve every single day on a microcosm, which creates the macro, you know?
Yeah, I love that, especially, I love that you said that, because especially kind of creating that for your kids. So they're growing up with this, you know, and they're growing up with this idea of gratitude and mindfulness. And I also love that you said that you can't necessarily say yes to everything. But when you look at it that way, it's kind of like well, maybe not right now, but we can do it another time. So it's creating 100%. A possibility that before would have been an impossibility, instead of just immediately saying, oh,
ultimately,
we can't.
Right. It ultimately creates a healthy boundary, because so many people are like, oh, it's a healthy boundary to tell those people to get fucked. It's like, no, that's not healthy at all. Like, that's not even close to being healthy. Like, a healthy boundary is saying, no, but how about here?
Yeah.
A little bit more on your own terms and meeting somebody halfway. And I feel like as a world, so many people want us just to meet them where they're at, meet me where I'm at. And it's like, how about we meet in the middle here and find harmony and love and compassion again, because we've lost that sense, you know? So when you create those structures and you create that plan, it creates really incredible boundaries for you and your family as well. And it's so easy to say no. And what people that are people pleasers, this one, no was like the hardest thing in the world, and it devastated her.
Oh, I hated
now she can say no, and she's like, yeah, I said no, let's do it this day.
But it's because
it's quite liberating, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's amazing. And we started doing these weekly planning sessions, and I would come into this planning session with so much stress and so much overwhelm. They would often end in tears. Over our schedule.
For a long time.
Don't even know why, because I never knew. It was so overwhelming for me. And as things shifted and as I started seeing the positives of it, I actually took charge of it and created a structure that doesn't overwhelm me at all. And now I can roll into that meeting and be like, this. We're going to say no to this, but we can do it on this day. And it's amazing, because someone will roll up to me and ask me if I can do something or if I can help out. And I already know. The answer. So it's no, let me get back to you. I don't know. Ooh. Yeah. There's none of that. It's like, I can do it on this day. And that's that. And it's opened my head up for more, to be perfectly honest. So, I mean, I have,
Capacity is raised.
yeah, I have a
tremendously.
huge amount of capacity, whereas before I didn't know what was going on and I was so overwhelmed, but I was doing nothing, nowhere near the amount that I do now. And so it's so liberating and so freeing. And I'm actually leveling up all the time and doing more of what aligns for me, not just what aligns for my husband and my kids.
Yeah. And I think as a first responder on that other sense, what's so freeing for me is as a worry body back in the day and as somebody that always wanted to protect my family, it's like, shit, I don't even know what I was doing then, let alone what my family was doing now. So when you go to the firehouse, all of a sudden you're like, are things being taken care of? Is this getting done? Is this getting done? Is this getting done? And when you create those systems as a family, shit, I can leave for a week and have literally no stress whatsoever and come back into the exact same system that's already been created over the years and the processes that our kids know, my wife knows, I know. So she can step out for multiple days and the Wednesday bathroom chore is going to get done, or the floors are going to get done on Thursday, or the homeschool gets done at this time, and nothing changes. So you can come back from a 48-hour shift and it's not like you have to try to pick all the pieces up.
Yeah.
It's like you come back into the system and it's so liberating as a firefighter to know that and have peace with that and know that your wife isn't super overwhelmed all the time. Maybe there's times you're like, oh my God, these kids are fighting me with homeschool right now.
Yeah, that's natural.
And I'm trying to sell
normal,
this home right now and these people are a pain in the butt right now. But it's like now she has the skills and the process to be like, I need to go take 15 minutes in the sauna and meditate, right? Or I need to go ice bath for a quick second and recalibrate myself.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's also changed the level of communication that we have with each other, which is so huge for a partnership. So I'm so grateful for that because now it used to be that I was so fearful to even ask to go to lunch with a friend or even ask to go to the gym on a time that maybe didn't, that he would be home. I would always try to like fit everything in for myself when he wasn't here, because when he would come home, I wanted to like just be here and be this ultimate wife.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I am burdening him by leaving the house. I don't feel like I am second to my husband and my children anymore. I am an equal part of this family and I am deserving of all the things that the rest of my family gets. And thank you. And that's pretty amazing. So like just being able to feel strong in the level of communication that we have, it is just so huge. I mean, it changes your entire relationship.
Yeah, big time. Entire life.
Awesome. I do kind of want to shift gears a little bit because you said something, it was probably like half an hour ago at this point, but you were talking about coming home and the reality of having kids. You come home after being on shift maybe 24, 48 hours. What advice would you have for people who maybe don't have the lifestyle you have yet, for how to navigate being a parent and also being a first responder? So coming home after you deal with those calls, you deal with, things you don't want to see, and then you come home and you're kind of, forced into this new chaos, completely different kind of chaos.
Sure.
You have to be a husband or a wife. You have to be a father or a mother. What advice do you have for someone who maybe hasn't reached your level of, I don't want to say enlightenment, but it kind of is, but like you're who isn't at your stage of the journey yet?
Sure. I think really checking in with yourself at all times. I mean, in life in general, but especially at the firehouse, because depending on who you're working with, who the officer is, what calls you run, it can be so damn draining. Because even if we don't run some of those calls, we absorb some of those calls from some of the people around us that maybe don't have the capacity to, especially as somebody who's very empathetic. I've had to set really strict boundaries energetically of what I'll allow in if it's serving my family and my mission and my purpose. Because something that I found early on, I wouldn't even say early on, but when I became more aware of the mindfulness and how much it changed my life, I wanted to like get on top of a mountain and scream it to everybody of like, this is the way. You need to stop suffering right now. Let me take your suffering away by giving you these gifts. And it's like, no. Like everybody has to suffer because you only know what light is when you're in the darkness, right? You learn in the depths of the valleys. You don't learn on the peaks. And for me, it was all about being really self-aware and knowing where I was at energetically and what I was absorbing, and then having the understanding of what I needed. So like for me, when I leave the firehouse, I'm always going to hot yoga at 6 a.m. It's free yoga for anybody in Frederick here. And it's so helpful to spend an hour on a mat, and I bring all my bullshit right there. And I see what's going on in my head and be like, what can I let go of right now? What do I need to deal with? What can I let go of right now? And it lets me process everything, and breathe through it and really move that body, because we need to move our bodies to move our emotions and our energy out of it, right? Otherwise it finds little areas to find little crevices, and then it comes out as a trigger, or comes out as a burst of anger, or whatever that is. And I think the second step to that, which my wife has been so incredible at, is like when I come home, everyone meets me outside or right at the door, and my dogs are jumping on me and my kids are jumping on me, and my wife stops and like looks me in the eye, and she's either like, you need to go take a nap, or she's like, hi babe, how was your shift? And can kind of feel where my energy's at and give me what I need in that moment, which was so key for me. And I stepped into a clean home, not like this chaos bullshit. Even if you can only clean the first 10 feet of that door, when you step in, you can take a breath. Yeah, maybe all your closets are fucking packed full to the gills and the bedroom doors closed and full of shit. Whatever. Like, let me step into a clean-ish home to where I can feel like I can take a breath and then have a conversation of, hey, it's like, what do you need, babe? I'm like, you know what? I'm good. And sometimes she'll fight me a little bit. Like, you need a nap? I'm like, no. I need to move through this. I don't need a nap. I don't need to sit with this. I need to go for a 10-mile run right now. And really just have that connection and that communication, I think, is so crucial. But all the way down to a lot of the guys at the academy, I say, like, change out of your clothes. Do something that you can physically see to shift out of that mindset. You have to, or have a bridge in a song that you play that you're like, now I'm dad. Now I'm no firefighter. Now I'm dad. You know, and so many people leave the firehouse and they go to their volley house, which I don't even understand that or how that even goes down, especially people with families. Or they keep their damn phones on and their pagers on, and they're getting calls on their days off all day long.
So true.
It's like, step out of that, dude. Like, you are a human being living on a planet
100.
spinning at 1,000 miles an hour or whatever it is. Like, go live your life and experience what we're here to experience, which is all the emotions and all the experience, but connection, you know, and live for who you want to be and what the hell you want to do.
That's one thing that I've been pushing since we started this show, is the separation. Talk to me. What do you do? Give me 3 things that you do when you come home to separate yourself immediately from job Prieur to dad Prieur.
Mm-hmm. So 3 things for me. The biggest thing is all that shit needs to be done before you step foot into your home, right? So step 1 for me is I do what I call the smile check-in. And it's something that I created a few years ago, and it really creates a mindful state for myself. So the S stands for my spirit. Like, where is my spirit at right now? And if it's a little low, I look around for something that's going to make me smile. Maybe it's a little kid, maybe it's a dog, whatever that is, right? My M is if I'm being mindful right now. Like, am I actually present right now in body? Because a lot of times we'll disassociate out of body. So it's like, boom, get me in body right now. Am I being mindful? My I is my intention. Am I being intentional and loving with what I'm doing? Which brings me over to the L, which is love. Like, am I showing love to the world? And am I creating a loving environment for myself, which means a heart-centered gratitude? And if not, I find 3 things that I'm grateful for, which is step 1, like, which I do in bed every single day. I don't get out of bed until I feel and see 3 things that I'm absolutely grateful for, because gratitude changes attitude. So I don't care what the hell you got going on. If you can find gratitude in that life, you're going to be living from a heart-filled space. And the biggest part of the smile check-in is the E, which is the echo. If somebody was on my back, like my child, would they be proud and learning something from me in that moment or not? And if any of those things are a no, it's discipline to fucking change it right then and there. There's no like, oh yeah, no, like, my kid probably shouldn't be learning this and I probably shouldn't be doing it, but I'll do it at a different time. No. It changes right then and there, period. Yeah. So that gratitude, the smile check-in to make sure I'm in body, and then meditation every day, or a lot of mindfulness, and then that yoga practice before I go home. So when I come home, hopefully everything's already, it's already done, and I've already put it to the side. And now I'm dad. Like, what's up, kids? Like, this is what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for these wild, feral kids that are homeschooled that can live the life that I wish I always had, of just like feeling unconditional love as much as possible, you know? And that's my ultimate goal for my kiddos.
I love that. And I also love that you said even changing out of your clothes, because
Just thinking that, literally.
that is, it's weird how powerful that is, because whenever I come home from the station, I change out of my uniform and put on like a clean uniform to come home, because I don't want to, you know, I just don't want to wear my, you know, whatever I was wearing on the ambulance in my car. So, but it's like I still have it on me because I'm
mindset.
Yeah,
too.
it's like I'm still in that space, and I'm walking in my house, and I do have the gift of my son is old enough now where he always runs up to the door and he opens the door and is like, "Mommy," and that's like the best thing ever.
That's it. My kids are 7 and 9. They still do it, and I love every second of it.
It's the best thing. It's the absolute best thing. But I definitely understand. I definitely understand what you're saying about like changing out of that. When you change your clothes, you change your mindset. It makes sense.
Especially as a mom in the fire service, I can imagine, because you're playing a masculine role as a female. You know what I mean? And that is a huge shift. Like, as a man in a masculine firefighter role, coming into a masculine role as a father is one thing. Coming from a masculine role as a female in the fire service into a mom, compassionate, loving, and feminine vibration is so different. And I often think like, if Sarah had to wear a hat for every person that she has to be in one day, our closet would be full of just hats. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes I feel like maybe we should do that. Is like put the hat on, like, okay, shit, I'm a mom right now. Oh, now I'm a business owner right now. Now I'm a firefighter. And it's like put all these different hats on. Like, truly, you have to change your state almost instantaneous, especially for this one who's a realtor, who's a full-time fire wife, who's a full-time homeschool mom, who's a spin instructor, who's a life coach. It's like, holy shit, babe. Like, just in one day, you're putting on so many different hats. How do you even know where you're at half the time? And it's like, that's checking in with yourself and knowing 100%. Where you're at mentally, and then being like, hey, I need a break. Or hopefully you have enough connection to where you can give your wife a hug and be like, you need a break. And like, no, I'm good. Like, no, you need to get your ass outside right now, and you're going for a 10-minute walk with the dogs. I don't care what it is, get out of the home. It's like, all right. Or that's it's like, hey, go get your ass in the ice bath. And like those are the big fight days. Like, nah, I ain't doing that. Just go get in the ice bath, girl. Like, you'll be good in two minutes. You're gonna be a whole different lady, okay?
And it's great that you mentioned that, because it's a two-way road. It's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
She offers you that when you get home. Hey, go lay down, take a nap. And it's important that we offer our spouses the same. Just for putting up with our bullshit half the time.
Man, seriously. And dealing with it all the time, you know. And I think as firefighters, it's hard because people, and it was really interesting lately, I was doing a documentary series on mental health in the fire service, which got shut down, which is really unfortunate, but we're still moving forward in some ways. But one of the firefighters really fought me deeply about talking about mental health and suicide in the fire service. And he was so angry, and I was like so confused by it, because this is somebody who we get along really well, and he was instantly triggered. And he said something that was so profound. And he says, these people call us on their worst day and we need to show up for them. They don't need to know that we're fucked up too. And it's like, oh my God, like, no, absolutely not, because we cannot show up for them unless we show up for ourselves and give ourselves what we need. And they think it's so selfish, and it's not okay not to be okay, even though we're constantly saying that stupid fucking phrase, it's okay not to be okay. But that's not true, because if it was true,
I don't think I've ever said that.
We'd be more open.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it blew my mind. And I was like so flabbergasted, and my old self kind of got triggered in, because I've been fighting this for 4 years now of like, hey, we need more mental health stuff. We have Wellness Wednesdays, and it's like, well, what is that? Like, well, it's just you showing up to teach yoga. And it's like, well, okay, but there's not a program here, you know, called peer support. It's like, well, what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, what's going, these people are fucked up too. We all need help. You know, we have this lady who's incredible, but guess what? Her span of control is 700 to 1. How much work can she actually do? You know, so we need to show up for ourselves and be our own heroes. Nobody's coming to save us. We need to save ourselves. You know?
That's really what we've created with Real Elevation is helping people figure out how to show up for themselves, giving them options so that they can figure out what works best for them.
That's it.
And helping them move through the process. But it's like so cool because it's like, here are a whole bunch of tools. You can pick the ones that work best for you. Because we've tried all of them.
Oh, man.
Some of them have stuck. Some of them didn't work. And we've created systems that do work. And they can choose what's best for them. Yeah. But at least they have a toolbox. And ideally, the community that we're creating can help with accountability and help with connection. Because I think that's a big part of what's missing is people connecting on this level so that everyone knows, you know, it's not about keeping it under wraps. It's like none of us are alone here. We're all trying to get to the same goal. We're all muddling through. What if we helped each other out?
Yeah.
What if we supported each other?
It's hard to connect if you're not home. Yeah. Right? So it's like, come back to home, come back into your body, into your spirit. And with Real Elevation, we're all about creating rad humans, which is resilient, authentic, and disciplined. Because the highest frequency is really unconditional love, but that comes from being authentic and just being authentically you and who you want to bring forward. And being authentic is really uncomfortable at times because people want to judge the shit out of you, you know? And when you're healing and when you're growing, people leave you because it's really uncomfortable even to be in the same room as you because of how different you are. It makes them so... I've lost so many friends in the process, and it was a sad thing, and now they're all coming back around as they're going through their own healing journey, and just letting them be forgiven is so liberating because we have such an easy time at times forgiving other people, but we don't forgive the old version of ourselves, which is the most important thing, is to forget the old version of yourself. And when you're in a relationship, oftentimes as you change and as you evolve, they'll come at you and attack you with their old tactics of who you used to be, trying to bring that old person forward. And it's so liberating when that happens and you're not triggered by it. And then you're like, wow, I am fucking healing. Yeah. Like, that doesn't bother 100%. Me at all anymore. Like, that's incredible. 100%. And it's so rad to feel that. Like, that's when, like, you get the chills and you're like, oh, it feels so good to be me. You know what I mean? And just be proud of yourself for what you've gone through.
I think there's so much stigma around being proud of yourself and, you know, giving yourself grace, because it's like we can beat each other up all day long, but like the reason we're doing that to other people is because of how we feel about ourselves.
That's right.
You know, so it's one of those things where it's like when you finally get to that point where you can be proud of who you are and love who you are because you're being so true to yourself and so authentic, and you know that you've showed up in every way that you really wanted to, you can let everything else go.
Yeah.
You know, and just like shine your light out there for everybody else. Yep. Because that's really what it's all about.
And then when you reflect daily and see, oh man, I could have done that differently, or I could have maybe dealt with my son a little differently. Let me change that right now. Let me go, hey, Dad made a big mistake today because I'm just a human as well, buddy. Like, we all make mistakes. I think that I could have done this, and this better. And in the future, maybe if you can help me by doing this, and it gives it back to that communication of like, hey, like, instead of this being a trauma for the rest of your life, like, let's heal it right now, dude, and let's move forward. And it's all about changing that meaning of the memory, you know?
This is TJ and Sarah Prieur, Real Elevation Coaching. We're going to wrap this up, guys. Final thoughts. Anything that you want to just talk about at the very end? Any points to drive home? Anything that you want to leave us with?
Man, for me, I think that if you're struggling, know you're absolutely not alone. Know that there's so many resources out, but you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable, and you have to be willing change your beliefs, because we are completely limitless. We're completely limitless beings living in this skin suit here, if you want to call it. And until you change your beliefs and change who you are as a person and change your inner world, nothing will change in the external world. It'll just show up differently with the same bullshit. And it's like, that gives you so much power back to yourself. Because we're always, when we're in those states of frustration or depression or anxiety, we want to just control the world around us and control the people around us. And that creates such separation. Like the only thing that we can control is ourselves and our own mindset to how we deal with things. So just reach out, know that you're awesome, know that you're so freaking loved by the universe and by God and everybody around you. And know that and love yourself and give yourself what you deserve, which is authenticity and gratitude.
Yeah,
Right on.
What do
absolutely.
you got?
Sarah?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think it's just so important to know that you're not alone, to be willing to ask for help. You know, there are so many people in the world that can help you if you need it, because we're all in the same boat. We're all just trying to thrive. So just, I mean,
Take a good
reach
look at your
out.
inner circle. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're going to be a reflection of the friends you hang out with. So it's like, if you don't like that, be willing to change it and go put yourself in the same room of people who you want to be like.
Yes.
Exactly. And
So.
know that, like they were saying, it's right there in front of you. It reminds me of, they called me up and asked me to come tell my story for our DFRS peer support team. And I went in and I gave them a 45-minute little speech, lecture, whatever, and I ended it with, "We walk amongst you." Here we are.
That's
I am
right.
one of them. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid
That's
to ask
it, dude.
questions.
And be going to those conferences. You know, we're speaking at the Key City Conference, and we're doing a workshop. So we're going to talk about our story, and then we'll talk about different techniques and strategies to move through and to systemize and approach your life in a different manner. Then the week after,
Yes.
we're going to be speaking at the conference in Ocean City. So
Yeah.
we're going to be there too. If
Awesome.
you guys want to see us there, you're more than welcome to join in.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This was great.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys for your time.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
Thank you, guys.
All right, love
Alrighty.
y'all. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thanks,
take
guys.
care. Feel better.
That was
Thank
TJ and Sarah Prieur. TJ's worked for alongside me in Frederick now for a while. So it was great to have them on. Hopefully, maybe we can have them back. We're
Yeah, sounds
always
great.
willing to talk and re-talk to guests. So if you guys like that, we will certainly welcome them back. And we'll wrap this show up with our normal.
Yep. If you would like to be a guest, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, or if you just want to reach out to talk, you can shoot us an email at bunkroomchatspodcast@gmail.com. We're also on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and all those links will be in the show notes.
They're there for you as always, and so are we. How about that? Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.